also be monitoring the Senate Mashinani sittings that are happening in Uasin Gishu, which is the first of its kind as they try to go and have the sittings in Wavinya Ndeti, Sipite. The hearing of the case is ongoing and Vincent Oduor is there, as well as still at the courts, at the Milimani courts this time. Of course, Obado's personal assistant, Michael Oyamo, is in court and is facing charges in relation to Sharon Otieno's abduction and murder. And Seth Olale shall be giving us an update in just a bit. And yesterday, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank released a monthly report where it sets the central bank rate and by extension, the maximum interest rates. This morning, the CBK Governor Patrick Njoroge briefing and Alex Mwangi shall be giving us that country with views from various and in the county of Mombasa. Kevin Mutai,
latest local and international
culture, will be arriving here at the county hall to have a one-on-one engagement with the farmers from the North Rift. Already I can tell you the whole is of the economies here. It will be interesting here. We expect that the residents will be talking about the challenges they face right from the time they start planting here in a big letdown.
Mpaka wakati huu sisi wengi tunalalamika sana kuhusu hizo jambo za kwanza. Leo tumeanza kitambo tangu
read a report a few days ago that actually Rwanda has overtaken Kenya in terms of international conferences. And of course, the whole destination benefits, including
how it's going to help this county attract tourists. We have many tourism sites that people don't know about.
Thank you, Bridget. First, flamingos are back. We have tried to make it unique. We give an opportunity for the residents of Nakuru as well as the residents of other counties to come here. They'll be able to access the park at a subsidized rate. And in addition, we shall have a food fest that is going to be held here. They can be able to sample some of the foods that we have in Oleken, we have in Sarova, we have in Great Rift. All the hotels have put up their own tents and they are going to give that sampling, and it is for free.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we are talking about this being a rhino sanctuary. This park has not been devoid of challenges. We do understand it. Even recently this year, some rhinos from this park died while on the way to Savo. But let's just get to the heat of it. What is maybe the problem? Why are we not attracting as many tourists as we'd like? Is it a problem with us, the locals, or is Nakuru County government not marketing the county enough to attract more tourists?
I think, let me say, normally the tourism sector, it is a very sensitive sector. And I think you know the previous history with our dual elections, with the political risk that was there. Definitely the first sector that is affected is the tourism sector. So I'm glad after the handshake that took place, stability has come back. Tourists have started coming back to Nakuru. So it is now us as a county, together with the private sector, the hoteliers here, to now market the county as well as we can. I think if you look at it in terms of the national figures, Kenya as a country, we are attracting about 1.5 million tourists. That is what Dubai attracts in 1 month. So I think in terms of tourism, we need to see how we can be able to work together with the national government as well as with other counties so that we boost this number to even double the same. But that will mean closer working relationships, especially with KWS, who are the people maintaining the parks, as well as other stakeholders. Yes.
Maybe you're joined here also with the chairman of the Nakuru Tourism Association. Chairman, you're the people who make sure the tourists, when they come to this town or any other place in Nakuru County, they do feel welcome. But in terms of attracting, we do depend on international tourism by and large. So what happens now to our local tourism industry? How are we going to revive it or make it attractive? And what other, apart from here, what other places can somebody see in Nakuru and still enjoy that tourism kind of feeling?
Okay, thank you, Bridget. And that's why we are here today. We are celebrating the World Tourism Day, as Waziri has said. And we are trying to demystify the earlier norm that a tourist must always come from outside there. And they must be of a particular color. We want to encourage domestic tourism. And that's why we are doing a food fest here. Because food is one of the things that people go to taste and sample. We also want to showcase culture, because the people of Nakuru are loving people. They are lovable. They are people that anybody would like to meet. So we are organizing this particular event to showcase to the world that we don't want only to wait for those who are coming from outside. Even us ourselves, from all over these counties, the 47 counties, we can converge in a place like Nakuru or any other place and enjoy ourselves. Sure.
Thank you so much. Dr. Before I let you go, there's a lot that you mentioned in the manifesto for the governor, Lake Nyanjui, and he marked out tourism as one of the key drivers of Nakuru's economy. We do understand that this is just one of the ways as a county government you're trying to activate people to really be attracted to celebrating what we have here, natural resources and heritage. What else do you have in plan? Because we do understand there was an investor conference, there was a marathon that was supposed to take place in Longonot. What has happened to those plans, and are we still in line with that in terms of also improving our attractiveness as far as other counties are concerned?
Let me assure everyone that the plans are on course. I want to take this opportunity to announce that we shall be having the investor conference. It shall be held from the 29th November to the 1st of December. And the concept we are adopting is one where we can be able to attract both local investors and international investors. Within the county, as we are right now, we have about 4 key flagship projects that we want to market on that particular day. Yes. We have the Oserian Industrial Park. This is going to sit on about 1,650 acres and is a $1 billion project. That is equivalent of 100 billion Kenya shillings. Yes. So we are targeting both local and international investors. And the theme for the conference is harnessing our natural resources to spur industrial growth. And here we are looking at the geothermal. That is going to be a key competitive advantage because we are going to have power supplied at subsidized rates. So that will be an incentive for investors. We also have the Egerton Agri-City project that is coming up, and this is a collaboration with the Egerton University. Yeah. And that is based on the Big Four agenda, specifically on agriculture. And what we want is for value addition farms to come and put up in the 1,000 acres that Egerton University has set aside. We also have the Kabarak Smart City project coming up. This is going to be, again, a partnership with Kabarak University. I think, as you're aware, most of the land in this county is in private hands or institutional hands. So we are working closely with them. Kabarak want to also put up an agri park as well as a smart city. So, and then lastly, we want a session for business to business, whereby our local companies here will be able to enter into negotiation with international investors. Because some of the international investors don't want to come and set up a company from scratch. They prefer to come, engage with local partners, and then invest either as a joint venture or so we are going to give those 4 critical opportunities, and we believe that is going to showcase the potential of Nakuru County.
Okay, let me just wind up maybe with the chair of the Nakuru Tourism Association. David, you can just tell us, you talk about your experience and ensuring that we do have enough tourism. Apart from that, let's just get to the heat of it. What should Kenya do to make sure that it grows with other competitors in East Africa? Rwanda is coming up, Tanzania, and other countries, maybe in terms of tourism, attracting tourists. What would Kenya do to be a leader, a market leader anymore, because competition is growing year on year?
It's true. What I would like to say is that Kenya has more than those countries that you're mentioning. It's only that the people of Kenya, they have not marketed their own well enough. And this is not just by the government, the national government or the county government. It's for everyone. We should market what is around us. Like in Nakuru here, we have 4 parks. We have 3 lakes here in Nakuru. Not so many other countries or even counties will have that. So we should love what we have and market it. We must be hospitable enough. We should welcome visitors. We should be welcoming. We should look at ways of magnifying every small thing that can attract people. As Waziri has always said, look at places like Egerton, the Egerton Castle. That thing has been there. There's a rich history in that place. Look at Mount Longonot, the Crater, the Hell's Gate. Look at this Lake Nakuru where we are. These are places that should be attracting tourists, domestic and even international. We need to market. Let's first start by marketing what is around us.
Okay. Sure. Thank you so much. That was David, the chair of David Mwangi, the chair of the Nakuru Tourism Association, and also we've been speaking with a county executive member in charge of tourism and trade and industrialization, Dr. Peter Ketienya, along the sidelines of Nakuru's preparation for the World Tourism Day that's going to take place tomorrow. But Dan, we are still following up on the lead story here in the South Rift, and that is the conflict in Olpusi Moru. But when it comes to tourism, I can just wind up with the words of the chair of the Nakuru Tourism Association, and he said we need to market what we have so that we can compete at par with the leaders in terms of attracting tourists. Dan.
Thank you very much, Bridget, and we believe they should be giving us some good information in regards to the clash at Olpusi Moru, like you said, and it's unfortunate that people have to die under such circumstances. And Bridget Ngana, like she has been doing with her crew there with some dough, are going to be giving us information as we go along. And now let's move from the shores of Lake Nakuru to the beaches of the Indian Ocean, where Kevin Mutai is standing by live from the county of Mombasa to give us yet another angle of the conversation in regards to tourism. Kevin, what is happening in the hot city and county of Mombasa?
Well, thank you so much, Dann Mwangi from Nairobi, and we're glad to join the broadcast here from the coastal line of Mombasa, specifically at the Travelers Beach Hotel. And here, as you can see, it's calm but really windy. This is because from a report that was issued by the weatherman a couple of days ago, saying that this coastal region will be receiving plenty of rainfall from today to all the way to Friday. But here we are yet to find out exactly how the tourism sector has been doing recently, considering that some of the key players in the sector have been complaining of the continuous decrease or decline on the number of visitors or tourists coming to various destinations across the coastal strip. And with me here is the sales and marketing manager at the Travelers Beach Hotel, and he's yet to give us the answers that we need on the issue of the tourism industry here in Mombasa. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Wafula Waswa. I'm the sales and marketing manager of Travelers Beach Hotel, located in North Coast Mombasa.
Wafula, tell us how's been business?
Well, I can say that on average that we have been doing a bit well from the year 2015 onwards. But now I think there's a lot of dynamics in the market that are going to interfere or have interfered with the tourism performance, especially on both local and international front. And I can say that, you know, for last year with the electioneering period, we expected that tourism was going to go slow, but we were puzzled by the performance that we had. We had over 4 million bet nights that were allocated to the local tourism. Out of that, we had 1.7 million arrivals. The total arrivals within the country.
Tell me about local tourists compared to those coming from international countries. How is it doing?
Well, as a hotel and as a person, I think local tourism is what most of these hotels in the North Coast or maybe in Kenya are relying on. We are having a lot more families coming to Mombasa as compared to international travelers coming. We have more of business travelers who come for conferencing, who come for to transact within the coastal region, as compared to what we have for holiday makers who come from international. Yes.
And tell us about, we have some challenges like travel advisories issued by international countries that has also in one way or another affected the industry. So tell us, do we have the demerits and merits of such kind of a situation? We have like employees losing their jobs. How is that? How are they able to cope with such kind of a situation?
I want to pick a specific season within the tourism industry. That was 2014-2015, and of course most of the electioneering periods. These are the periods when, for example, the 2013, 2014, 2015, we had a lot of advisories from our traditional international markets. That led to a drop in the number of tourists. Of course, we had the issues of terrorism and stuff like that. Like I have mentioned before, electioneering period is usually a volatile period, of course, in Kenya, and most countries are averse of that, and they issue those advisories. On overall, the kind of effect that we get as a hotel, as a facility or an industry, we have a lot of people who are laid off because of poor performance. Of course, there is no revenue that can sustain performance of the hotels. Works like now what we are experiencing right now, renovation works are stopped. We also have, salary cuts and stuff like that. So all that put together, and of course even the owners of the facilities are unable sometimes to pay the legal obligations, to meet the legal obligations as facilities.
And also we have a government in place, both the levels, the national, the county government. Of course there are things that they also need to chip in to ensure that tourism in the country is, as in the glory in the industry, is brought back to its norm. What do you think that these key players need to do in order to boost the sector?
I have said before that we have a very beautiful product as a country compared to many other countries, maybe within the region or maybe that are competing with us. The beach, the wildlife, the tradition, the variety that we have, both for the touristic attractions that we have. But we have not harnessed this, we have not leveraged on that to make it count for us. A country like UK or maybe America has a lot more tourism performances compared to Kenya. Why? Because the entities, the government entities that are charged with promoting tourism do their work, they do their background checks, and they do their work, they do research and do a lot of promotion. We as a country, unfortunately, we are not progressing with what the world is doing. Let me give you an example. Recently, of course, in November, we are supposed to, as a country, we are supposed to be participating in a WTM, World Tourism Market in UK. But we are not going to go there because the minister, the CS for tourism, said we are not able to do that because there are no budgetary allocations. Now, issues that are being done, or the policies that are now being enforced, are working against the real development of tourism. If you look at the promotion of local tourism, for instance, not much has been done. Yeah, not much has been done to sustain it, to make it grow. So I call upon KTB, the Ministry of Tourism, and of course even the central government, the county governments, to allocate more funds to promoting tourism so that it can grow. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was Wafula Waswa, the Sales and Marketing Manager at the Travelers Beach Hotel. And we are also going to find other players in the tourism industry. And as you can see, just in front of me, I can ask my colleague Peter Wainaina to just give you a picture of what's happening. We have camels here, and of course these are also key players in this industry promoting the tourism sector at the coastal region. And I'll just ask one of the people to speak to me and just to tell us exactly how business has been doing, and just to get a view of how is it. Kwa majina nani ndugu yangu?
Abdul Godana.
Abdul Godana. Hebu Abdul Godana, tueleze unafanya nini?
Nafanya kazi ya baharia, nafanya biashara kama riders. Hii ndio biashara yangu. Biashara zamani tunatemea utalii. Utalii sasa imeenda chini sana.
Naona uko na ngamia, hebu nieleze imeza kulingana na biashara yako. Umesema unafanya kazi ya kuwapa wageni kuendesha ngamia ama hebu nieleze biashara imekuaje?
Biashara zamani kote utaliko tunapata pato. Sasa biashara imeenda chini, kwa siku unapata kama 500, mara nyingine toka bila shilingi. Sasa imeenda chini. Kama tunapata kama shilingi 2000 kwa siku, kama ugeni wako, utalii wako. Sasa hoteli imeenda chini chuma. Tunaweza kaa bila mchana tupate shilingi tuarudi bila nyumbani bila pesa.
Hebu niambie nini imechangia hali hiyo?
Hali hiyo
imesababishwa na nini?
Hatujui ugeni kuja hapa, ugeni Zanzibar, hatujui. Hapo biashara imeenda chini sana.
Unasema wageni wanaenda Zanzibar, kwa nini wasije hapa na waende kule Zanzibar? Nini nawafanya wasije hapa?
Sijui kama mambo maybe kwa taxi, sijui, I don't know. Maybe kama kwa taxis, don't know, maybe kwa ushuru tu.
Mambo ushuru.
Mambo ushuru.
So nadhani hali imesababisha hali ya juu ya gharama ya maisha imeenda juu. Hebu nieleze kivipi sasa umezungumzia hali ya ushuru ambao inatozwa nchini. Unadhani imeathiri vipi yule mwananchi ambaye angezapenda sana kuja hapa kwenye bahari kuogelea na hata kujivinjari ama kupata raha kwa njia moja au nyingine? Je, unadhani ni nini haswa hali ya gharama ya maisha imeweza kuathiri yule mwananchi yule kutoka pale kijijini?
Kwa taksi hata mwenye biashara kidogo utakuwa zile biashara aende chini na udhirika.
Haya, okay, asante sana. Let me also try and find other players in the sector, especially those who operate the boats. I'll just take you through to where they are just to try and get to hear how business has been doing and the number of customers they've been receiving. I don't know. As you can see, it's really calm right now. The number of people at the beach is really low compared to those other days, and they're saying that this is because of a lack of the number of tourists coming to this region. We don't know the causes, but some of them say that especially for those local tourists, they're saying that most of them is because of the high cost of living that they've not been able to come to this region and try and get exactly to feel the touch, the serene environment of the coastal line. I'll just have to ask one of them to speak to us and tell us exactly how business has been doing. Hello, kakangu, naomba tueleze tu kiasi biashara iko vipi? Anaanza kwa majina.
Mimi naitwa Lindune. Biashara si nzuri vile sana vile kama unavyoona. Tunaona ufua uko empty, tunaona huo. Si nzuri sana vile.
Hebu nieleze kwa siku unapata wateja wangapi?
Wakusema wateja ni kuomba Mungu tu. Sengine tunakosa kabisa, sengine unapata wawili watatu, yani tunaishi hivyo hivyo tukimungu.
Je, unadhani nini imechangia hali hiyo?
Kitu kinachochangia kama ni kawaida tu low season vile tunaona.
Una matumaini kwamba hali hii itaweza kubadilika?
Itabadilika kulingana na vile tunajua miezi fulani kifika kuna badilika.
Asante sana. Well, those are just some of the few sentiments we've managed to gather from the coastal line of Mombasa. Here they're saying that business has not been usual. They're saying that they're experiencing various challenges due to the declining number of tourists coming to these various tourism attraction sites. And Dan, I am sure that with the panel that you have there in studio, they've had and they'll be able to contribute more to the conversation that I've just had down here in Mombasa. As of now, I take you back to Dan in studio so that you can be able to get other news from other parts of the country. Back to you, Dan, in studio.
Thank you very much, Kevin Mutai. I was for a moment there waiting to see whether you're going to take a ride on the camel, but maybe you took us for a ride in that whole thing. But we take a short break on NTV Today. We'll be back with more of the conversation on tourism and hospitality after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to NTV Today. Dann Mwangi is my name, and we're still having that discussion on tourism, hospitality, and how Kenya looks beautiful and some of the ugly elements in that beauty sometimes. Let's cross over to the county of Homa Bay, where Dann Mwangi is standing by to speak to us live and have some conversations there in regards to tourism there on the lake side. Bernard.
Well, thank you very much, Dan. We are here at the lakeside town of Homa Bay County, the county of choice, as they call it. Remember, this is one of the county that is rich of historical sites. We have Ruma National Park, the only park here in Kenya that has roan antelope, and we also have Simbi Nyaima in Karachuonyo, Nyamgondo Wodobare in Gwase, and also, not to forget, we have hot spring in Karachuonyo. And these historical sites, despite the availability of these historical sites, they have not been benefiting this county. And we'll be talking to the Homa Bay County CC in charge of tourism. Just tell us, why is it that these historical sites have not been helping this county in terms of revenue collection? Join me here, Madam. You'll start with your name. Karibu. You'll start with your name and tell us, why is it that you have historical site and is not helping this county?
Thank you very much. My name is Roslyn Odhiambo. I'm the CEC in charge of tourism, sports, culture, youth, gender and social services, Homa Bay County. Yes, we have a lot of historical sites. We have legendary. We have many sites to visit, tourism attraction sites. I would say at the moment we are not getting much because we are yet to develop most of them. We have, for example, the Homa Bay Pier where we are standing right now. Homa Bay Pier is a source of it's a connective source. It can connect us to the neighboring counties, neighboring countries as well. But as you can see behind me, you can see the hyacinth has now blocked the transportation that goes on here. However, we are working on the way out to make sure that this hyacinth is eradicated so that we have the transport back. We have the peculiar transport of water that is called water bus. We can't see it here today because of this.
And what are the challenges? You've said that you have a lot of historical sites here in Homa Bay County, and you've been benefiting from this. You as a county, what are the challenges are you getting out of this?
Well, the mapping was the first challenge which we have already passed. We've done our mapping. Now it is the development. The development, for example, Simbi Nyaima will require some fencing, and after that fencing, the benefit will be so much because we'll have youth employed, we'll have people employed around there, the artifacts will be displayed, and then at least there will be some income that is bringing to the county. When we talk about like Homa Bay Pier or Abundu Hot Spring, we are thinking of developing geothermal in Abundu, and there's another one called Bala Hot Spring. Bala Hot Spring, we are going to develop sauna, natural sauna, where people can come and, you know, they get the natural sauna there because it is a hot spring already.
Each and every time we hear hoteliers here in Homa Bay County saying that tourists usually come here, visit these historical sites without paying anything. But when it comes to accommodation, they don't spend here in Homa Bay County. They usually go to the neighboring counties like Kisii and Kisumu, and sometimes they usually go to Tanzania. Is this affecting you?
Well, that maybe had been said, but I would say Homa Bay has enough. We have sufficient tourist destinations as well as hotels and accommodation. So maybe what is still lacking, which we are still doing, is the classification of the hotels. But we have accommodation in Homa Bay, and some of the tourists, they come, they stay. When a tourist goes to a neighboring county, maybe they have finished what they wanted to do around here, and then they move. But we are trying to strengthen the regional economy, so block, so that we have these tourists, they move, they have a channel of movement, and that is what we are right now doing in connection with LREB.
You've talked about the rehabilitating of these historical sites like Simbi Nyaima, Nyamgondo. You will fence them. How much have you set in place? Have you put in place currently so as that you are going to use in rehabilitating these historical sites?
Our first focus right now is Simbi Nyaima because it is a ready market, and we have a budget of roughly 8 million to start fencing Simbi Nyaima, and even also to secure job opportunity for others. And Homa Bay Pier is also in among the beachfront plans that we have to develop develop so that we have people here. As you can see around me, there's mountainous, we have a lot of scenes behind me. When the tourists come, they are attracted to it. So developing Homa Bay Paya will actually attract them and even keep them home to stay and watch.
So you are set.
And we have the sunset. It is actually, I invite people to come to Homa Bay and watch the beautiful sunset of Homa Bay, from Homa Bay Hill, and even from some of the hotels that we have around. So we are actually on the move. We are a bit held back because of financial restraints, but of course I know as I speak there are investors out there that we are already reaching. We are also looking at the county government. We have something that we set aside that we can start at least something going on in the meantime.
Thank you, Madam Cici. Thank you, Dan. Speaking there is Madam Cici, Roslyn Odhiambo speaking there, saying that they have set around 8 million to rehabilitate these historical sites. And joining me again, Dan, will be talking to one of the boat riders here in the lake. You know, whenever tourists come here in Homa Bay, they are on where they get maybe boat ride here in Lake Victoria. But as you can see behind me, it has been covered fully with covered by water hyacinth. And joining me is this man here, joining me here, and able to eleze shida changamoto gani pengine kwa sasa mnapitia.
Okay, kwa majina naitwa John Okoth. Mimi ni mfanyikazi wa hapa karibu Paya, lakini shida yenye hii hyacinth imeleta ni ya kwamba katika sekta ya boat ride, siku hizi kama wageni wamekuja hawawezi pata huduma ya boat ride around kwa sababu hii kitu inakaa hapa haitoki. Hiyo ndio shida tumekumbana nayo, na zingine pia ni kama wageni wengine wanakuja hata kuona baadhi ya masamaki, lakini watu wavuvi hawakuji kwa ajili ya hiyo hyacinth. Sasa
asante. Nini mnaona pengine ikifanya unaweza kusaidia sasa?
Chenye inaweza kusaidia ni kuona mbinu vile hii kitu inaweza kutoka ili turudi katika biashara yetu ya kawaida.
Asante sana. Dan, you've heard from the locals here, and even the county government official Roslyn Odhiambo speaking there, saying that they have been facing challenges in terms of revenue collection in this sector, tourism. But with the implementation, with the efforts that they have decided at least to put in place, it will help them at least to improve this sector. Back to you, Dan.
Thank you very much, Bernardo Juang. It's quite unfortunate to see what looks like a plantation, yet it's actually a water body that's covered by a weed. Because you'd think it's in Kericho, for instance, or an area such as that, but it is actually the county of Homa Bay, and that is water, the waters of Lake Victoria, which are behind him, and behind them as they were speaking. And hyacinth, in some places, has been used by some innovators to generate power or the likes, and so hopefully that can actually be harnessed as they also try and have a balance, because you can hear the woes and the concerns of the boat riders. Now back to our conversation with Andreas, who's the general manager of Movenpick Hotel and Residences in Nairobi. We've had some of the sentiments from the counties. For you as Movenpick, what have you noticed in regards to the locals being some of your main clients? Do you see a number of locals coming to be your clients, or do you see more of the international guests?
Yes, we have a lot of locals at the hotel, both hotel guests, but also especially in the food and beverage departments and the restaurants, bars. Most of our clients are actually locals.
Okay,
yes.
And we've over the years had challenges with local tourism. It's not been the strongest in Kenya, and there had been concerns on how do we raise tourism. We've seen the Kenya Tourism Board trying to push Tembea Kenya, not trying, they actually pushed Tembea Kenya tour the country. In your short stay in the industry, do you feel that there's still a lot of room for improvement when it comes to local tourism, or do you feel it's at a good place?
I think there's never enough. I think because local tourism in any country actually should be promoted, because you need to be careful not just to depend from international tourism. So you need to have a very strong and solid base of local tourism. So you need to make sure also your local domestic transportation is working properly. Okay, now we have the train, which is a good alternative actually, and very inexpensive and very much used as well. So that's a new opportunity. But local tourism definitely something to bank on, absolutely.
Okay, and when we were watching the live link from Mombasa, the gentleman there from the hotel, spoke about the elections affected their operations. Inevitably, it's been one of the main things that affected the economic performance generally across the board. By any chance, was Movenpick planning to launch earlier but waited for the electioneering season to end before you can now come into town?
No, we opened after the election period. That was a coincidence, but I can tell you that definitely also Nairobi has been heavily affected by the election period last year. So instead of a projected growth in 2017, there was a drop of about 18%, 14 to 18%, depending on the statistics you look at for Nairobi hotels. And that has really heavily started as of the month of August. So then for the rest of the year, performance compared to 2016 was really not very good.
Okay. And one of the biggest things that is in the news, as in the national conversation right now, is regards to the new Finance Act, the Finance Act 2018, which was assented to just a few days ago. And we've been seeing people talking about how it's going to affect business. There was a lot of campaign against it, even from the private sector. In your view, how has this affected your sector, as the tourism and hospitality sector?
I think we're yet to see the real impact of that, because of course people have less money at hand, so less will be spent. You'll be careful. Should I go out? Should I not go out? Should I have a glass of wine? Should I have a bottle of wine? Etc. So I think yes, we're still yet to see. We saw the petrol decrease, and again increase. So it's like a bit like the stock market every day. Let's see what it says on the display panel. So, and that gives a lot of insecurity to people, and a lot of taxes being added on lots of services, etc. And that of course has an impact on the disposable income. And then, okay, where do you start saving? Well, where it's on the less necessary things in life, and going out is part of the less necessary things in life. First you have to look after your home, your family, and then what's left, and you can see if you manage to go out and enjoy. So yeah.
What about for the business? How much do you rely on fuel for running your through your generators, or otherwise how much do you rely on fuel, and what other implications are there for you in regards to higher taxes, if any?
Well, there's always an indirect impact because your supplier eventually will increase the prices on different products you purchase because of a tax impact. So there, across the board, whatever you're going to purchase as a hotel, you will be impacted. Yes, of course, we have big generators that run on diesel, and eventually there we will also be impacted one way or the other. So eventually it'll affect anyone, be it private people or businesses.
Okay, and we find a number of stories, and we do them here unashamedly, in regards to there being corruption in Kenya, especially when it comes to the state. And it's always been said that it takes two to tango. There's also the private sector angle to it. Now, with all this, what gave Movenpick the confidence to come and invest in Kenya, which has a lot of cases of corruption right from government?
Well, if you see where there are opportunities to invest and to make money, why not jump on such an opportunity? Then, yes, of course, there's a lot of talks about corruption, and recently quite some fight against corruption, which is very good to see. Then, you need to be true to yourself and do what you think is right, and move on.
So are we seeing you know, more confidence despite these kind of situations?
I mean, in terms of let's say, as a future potential investor for any business in the hospitality, currently, if I may quote PwC on that one, they caution a bit potential investors and say, if your product is going to be a niche market, you should be okay. But if you plan to have a product that caters to everybody, they see it rather risky because of the current oversupply in the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how, in your view, despite, you know, the cases of corruption and the cases of higher taxes, which means higher prices of goods, which will ultimately push prices of goods and services up, how then should Kenya position itself to still be an attractive country, especially for your industry?
You know, it's all about how a country or destination is being perceived, and you need to really make sure that in the international media you are projecting a very positive image. There were these stories about demolition. For a while it was very big in the media. It has slowed down a lot. But somebody that is really looking carefully, evaluating carefully, should I invest in Kenya or not, or in any other country, over a certain period of time, you would really analyze such news, and depending on that, then decide, okay, should I invest in Kenya or in any of the neighboring countries? So whatever is broadcasted in the news, it's really important that good, positive news go out and not negative news.
What about in the industry? What are industry players doing to ensure that, as much as, you know, some things are beyond you, you hear these cases of corruption in high levels of government, but to ensure that you still have a positive image, to ensure that you can actually still attract visitors?
Yes. I mean, what we do as, for instance, in Nairobi as hotel general managers, we meet once a month, whoever has the time to meet, where then also we try to see what we can do and how we can contribute in terms of promoting the destination, not only locally but also at an international level, working with various government organizations and giving our feedback and our suggestions, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And what for you are some of the biggest challenges to Kenya having a clean image that is attractive to both investors and visitors?
Crime at times, violent crime. You know, when I mean, there are on and on cases of expatriates living on the coast and being killed, and of course then, you know, for quite a large number of international travelers, such a destination becomes a no-go, because then immediately they will feel that, oh, it's very dangerous and you cannot walk out on the street, and you'll be mugged and killed, etc. So these kind of crimes, again, especially happening on the coast, which should attract international travelers to spend a week or two on the beach, that doesn't really help.
And now, speaking of that, Kenya has been, you know, cited of not diversifying in terms of its product offering in tourism. So we see a lot of the beach and safari. What other opportunities do you feel Kenya needs to tap into so that they can, because this will ultimately again bring clients for you, because if you have more people coming into the country for different kinds of tourism, then you would actually benefit.
Of course, there's always the cultural aspect of it. So there is a certain number of people who really travel to enjoy different cultures in different places. That, I think, but on the big numbers, they are not that many compared to the ones who really enjoy safari and the beach. So, like one of my colleagues said, we really need to market what we have. I mean, some of the beaches are really beautiful. You have places like Lamu, which are very unique, and then all the different parks which there are. But a lot of people don't know about it. A lot of people don't know Masai Mara. They know Serengeti, but they don't know Masai Mara. So they will choose to go to Serengeti and not to Masai Mara, so they go to Tanzania and not to Kenya. And that really has to do with market destination. To be honest, I mean, and I traveled a lot before coming here. I wasn't really that much aware of Masai Mara. Serengeti was, since many, many years, something that just, I know it, I've heard about it, but not Masai Mara. And then there's not only Masai Mara, there are all the other parts. So, market.
And why did Movenpick then choose to come to Nairobi as opposed to other, towns or cities in the region?
Yeah, well, Nairobi is the business hub of Eastern Africa, so it's basically like a must. You should be here to be among the big players, and then from there, the idea then is to spread out into the neighboring countries and to plant our seeds there. But I mean, our hotel is more of a business hotel than a leisure hotel, though we have a very large pool, etc. But I mean, Nairobi in general is more business than leisure. So to us, it's a very important destination as a company.
Speaking about your hotel, there's some interesting thing about it in terms of there's a revolving floor that you also mentioned earlier on the 24th floor. Many people are wondering, maybe just demystify for those of us who may not understand how does that work? How does that work that you can actually have a revolving floor?
Well, there is one platform within the restaurant. The restaurant is round, of course, and there's one platform in the shape of a donut, basically, that turns. It takes about an hour, 20 minutes, and it just turns slowly, and that gives the revolving effect. So while having dinner, you sit there, and by the time you're finished, you've been able to see the whole skyline of Nairobi in all directions.
Okay, and around where you are, there's quite some constructions happening. Does this concern you in terms of the visibility of your facility, or is this something that does not really worry you at all?
In terms of visibility, not. Of course, there's whenever there's construction, there's some noise, which can be disturbing. But I have to say, it's been managed very well, and it has not been really having any negative impact on our business. So. I mean, at night it's quiet, so people can sleep well, and during the day you have a lot of other noise, a different kind of noise happening, so that's pretty well tempered.
Okay, and one thing that has been said about when international investors are coming to Kenya, at times they have some challenge getting their paperwork done in terms of just registering the business. What was the experience like when you're trying now to set up in Nairobi as an international firm?
Well, we haven't set up an international office, but we are together with local owners. But it is, when speaking to colleagues and also from other industries, they set up their offices. The general consensus is that it's rather challenging to set up your own legal entity here in Kenya.
Yeah. All right, and I think that can bring to a good close our conversation today in regards to your hotel industry, tourism, and just some of the things that are good points and weak points and points of potential growth. And like you said, there is the aspect of marketing. Kenya needs to market, because people may know more of Serengeti. Like for you, you said you knew more of Serengeti than you did of the Mara.
Yeah.
And for those of us in Kenya, like, how did you know it and didn't know Mara?
Yeah.
And so there needs to be more marketing in regards to the same. But thank you very much for speaking to us, Andreas Flukiger, I beg your pardon, the General Manager of Movenpick Hotel and Residences in Nairobi, and thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you very much as well for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. And now we just need to look at some of the international news that's happening around the country, just in light of the different things happening. And at least 45 people have been killed by cholera in Zimbabwe in the past 3 weeks, according to the World Health Organization, that's WHO, describing the strain as multi-drug resistant. It said that an oral vaccine campaign was due to begin shortly with 450,000. Welcome back to NTV Today, and this is the news at 1. My name is Dann Mwangi. Now, Migori Governor Okoth Obado's private assistant, that is Michael Oyamo, has been denied bail. His bail at hearing has been adjourned until 8th of October. That means he's got at least 12 days where he's going to remain in the police custody, and Seth Olale has been following those proceedings and now joins us live from Milimani Court. Seth, give us a brief of what exactly is happening and what the court has decided.
Yes, just moments ago, Justice Jesse Lesit made that particular ruling. This is after the defense, who are representing the accused, who is now the personal assistant for Migori Governor Obado, Michael Oyamo, indicated that they needed correspondence, rather they needed some written material from the prosecution in order for their client to be ready during the bail hearing. And so this is a development that just happened about 10 minutes ago, and right now just going to invite over Mr. Peter Kaluma, who's also a lawyer and representative for the family. What does this particular mean, Mr. Kaluma?
Allow me first to thank our media for keeping the matter of Sharon Otieno and her unborn child in public limelight. And I wish you would do this so that justice is done in all cases, especially of murder across our country. Let me also thank the team of lawyers. We have Professor Wajakoya. We have lawyer Caroline Kamau, designated by the Federation of Women Lawyers of Kenya, also to seek justice in the matter. Let me next thank the Directorate of Criminal Investigation for the commitment they have shown in helping the nation know who killed Sharon Otieno and her daughter. And how do I wish Mr. Kinoti good life, and that he also investigates other cases with this commitment. Let me also thank the DPP, not only for taking personal charge, but also designating some of the best lawyers we have in the Directorate of Public Prosecutions to take charge of this matter. We now look upon the judiciary, we now look upon the court system to sit together at the apex of the justice system and help the nation, if not only the family, to know why Sharon Otieno was killed and why with a child. You know, across our country we have cases of children, unborn children dying, but because their mother is dead. This is a case where an unborn child was also murdered.
Okay, well, that is Peter Kaluma still speaking to members of the Fourth Estate after that particular adjournment of the case. What we know is that the bail hearing for one of the main suspects of the case, that is Michael Oyamo, who's actually one of the accused and also the personal assistant to the Migori Governor Okoth Obado, that particular bail hearing has been adjourned to next week on Friday, and this is some of the development. But remember that tomorrow is also D-Day here at the Milimani Law Courts, where Okoth Obado, the Migori Governor, the bail hearing determination is going to be made at this particular place. And so NTV will keep you posted on the latest development from the Milimani Law Courts.
Thank you very much, Seth Olale, for that brief and just for some of the tidbits of what has happened in the court this morning, where we've had Michael Oyamo having his bail hearing been moved to the 8th of October, and we follow that up. And now to another case of a murder of a young girl. A Kiambu court has ordered to hear the application by Joseph Irongo, a suspect in the murder of 20-year-old Monica Kimani. The magistrate has granted the defense's request to have their client's medical attention made a priority. The prosecution had earlier requested the court to grant them 14 days to complete investigations and have the suspect remanded. The defense team had presented before the court that their client had a gunshot wound that needed to be attended to and a bullet lodged in his chest that needed to be removed, and this would take 4 days. Irungo was arrested in connection to the murder of Kimani, who was found dead in her home with her throat slit.
Specifically, article number 28.
Police have arrested 9 people from Kuresoi South Sub-County last night in connection with the ethnic clashes that left 1 person dead and 30 others with serious arrow wounds at Olposimor Ward in Narok North Sub-County. The suspects were paraded before Narok County Commissioner George Natembea after they were apprehended at Olengape village. They had 126 arrows, 5 bows, 1 spear and a panga. The county commissioner said the suspects were using a saloon car and were driving from the conflict zone to Olenguruone Trading Center to receive their payment for participating in the clashes. The suspects are at Narok Police Station and will be arraigned Thursday. The clashes were triggered on Sunday evening after cattle was stolen. Security agencies in Bomachoge Borabu are pursuing the killers of 17-year-old Elivina Moracha, whose body was discovered in a fish pond on Sunday. The Sengera SDA secondary student was killed just days before starting the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations. The family claims a boda operator who was her boyfriend is behind the killing.
Mariba village is mourning the death of 17-year-old Elvina Moracha, who was a KCSE candidate at Sengera Secondary School. The body of Elvina was discovered in a fish pond located less than a kilometer from her home in Bomachoge Borabu, Kisii County. According to Elvina's sister, Emma Mora, they had supper together before the teenager went to her bedroom. At 11:30 p.m., she was missing. The family suspects her former boyfriend.
Kama alikuwa na deni, siangereza wasasi wake watoe hiyo deni, na ni mtoto wa shule. Sasa vile alitoka kwa nyumba hapa, hakuna mwenye anajua. Kwa hivyo tunalilia serikali etu akitendeke.
Hata shuleni alikuwa mtu wa bidii sana, lakini yenye yametokea kwa familia tunaona kwamba ni maneno magumu sana.
Students at Sengera SDA mourned their schoolmate, with Principal Enoch Nyambega noting that Elvina had not gone back to school for third term.
After postmortem, it is when we shall know whether it was thrown or she was killed elsewhere and thrown in the pond.
Kenyanya OCPD Isaac Thuranira said they needed time to carry out investigations.
8 people were seriously injured last evening when a lorry hit 3 other vehicles at Sachangwan Trading Center near Salga along the Nakuru-Eldoret Highway. The lorry that caused the accident was heading to Nakuru when it hit 2 lorries and a passenger service vehicle. The injured were rushed to the Nakuru Level 5 hospital with the Kenya Red Cross together with other well-wishers assisting the injured. The area residents are appealing for an ambulance at Sachangwan Health Center to help in such rescue missions.
Sasa nikipanda nikaona lori imepita wrong side, sky imefly, imefeel brakes. Sasa kufika hapa ndio ikatugonga, tulikuwa magari 3.
That black spot, unfortunately, there were no deaths in this accident. Cases of children disappearing in Kiambu County have risen in the recent past. 2 children from Limuru and Lari are the recent cases and have been missing for 2 months. This comes as another 6 children were found and taken to Kikuyu Police Station.
Elizabeth Wambui, mother of Sandra and Joki from Garariga, saw her daughter last about 8 weeks ago. Sandra was out playing with a friend before she disappeared. Since then, Wambui has spent weeks moving from children's homes to police stations in search of her 7-year-old daughter.
Labda inaweza kuwa ni mtu alimchukua amemweka kwake kwa nyumba. Labda yeye ni mtu mwenye ana mtoto. Ameza chukua ampelekewa na mtu mwingine.
Meanwhile, 11-year-old Ernest Kabera from Lari left school for home but disappeared along the way without a trace. Her mother, Lucy Wangoi, said that she has been looking for her son for the last 2 months unsuccessfully.
Akionekana afanywe counseling ndio ajulikane mawazo yake anataka nini.
The children's officer in Kikuyu and Kabete attribute cases of disappearance to parents' negligence as well as children's delinquency.
To take back the responsibility over their children. A lot of parents, especially here in Kikuyu and Kabete, are not taking proper care of their children, and that is why they are getting lost.
Meanwhile, 6 lost children are currently at Kikuyu Police Station awaiting their parents to pick them. Achieng Wimbley, NTV.
Such unfortunate news to have. Almost every other day we have cases of either murders or loss of just disappearance of children and girls especially. Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua and his arch-rival Wavinya Ndeti have commenced their legal battle at the Supreme Court over who duly won the 2017 Machakos gubernatorial elections. Mutua, who filed the petition, wants the Supreme Court to dismiss the Court of Appeal judgment that nullified his election. This is after Wavinya Ndeti appealed to the High Court ruling that had upheld Mutua's August 8th election. Wavinya's lawyers insist on the Court of Appeal ruling that the Machakos election results failed the constitutional test of verification, as Mutua's lawyers argue that the procedural technicalities did not affect the final outcome of the election. President Uhuru Kenyatta has called on the UN Security Council and other stakeholders in peacekeeping operations to provide predictable resources that would ensure excellent performance of UN troops. President Kenyatta spoke at the Action for Peacekeeping meeting that was held at the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly that is currently going on in New York in the United States.
The President has reiterated Kenya's support of the Declaration of Shared Commitments and reaffirmed Kenya's undertaking to continue its participation.
Following constant crocodile attacks, Kenyan plans to come up with a short-term and long-term water solution. The decision was reached after protests by residents and meetings involving local leaders. The residents have also been protesting against Kenyans' failure to provide clean water despite hosting 7 Forks Dam.
Ile masoko iko na watu wengi kwa mto ya Tana yote yapewe maji kuanzia ile kanao market Malekini tuje Kiangeni kule Makema Mulukusi Mwanyani Bondoni, tukija Mavuria iko Mashanga na Madhigira Kenda, alafu Kiambere tuko na Mutukuvare na Karura. Hiyo area yote itapewa maji.
Residents of Mugoga took to the streets today to protest against the construction of the road along Nairobi and Nakuru Highway. The protesters who blocked Nairobi-Nakuru Wangige Kikuyu roads are demonstrating over the rehabilitation and capacity enhancement of Zambezi Road. Kenya National Highways Authority (KENHA) are carrying out the expansion of the 16 billion shillings road. Now, residents lit bonfires on the roads, causing a snarl-up, but riot police had to intervene. They claim the expansion of the road has invaded their farms. Water wrangles in Baragoi continue as the National Environment Management Authority issued a letter for the closure of the construction of a dam. The residents have been clashing due to water scarcity in the area, and they are forced to walk long distances to fetch water. They now want the construction of the dam to continue.
Residents here are forced to walk long distances to get the precious commodity. The construction of Baragoi Dam was meant to provide clean water, which could consequently reduce conflict in the region.
Penye tumewekewa hapa itatusaidia sisi wote na itabagua kabila yeyote.
About 3 to 7 men go down the wells to fetch water as residents line up to fill their jerrycans. The residents are now lamenting over the delays in the construction of the dam by NEMA, terming it a political feud.
Ile kitu tunasikitisha sisi ni kwamba wakati tunaleta maji katika sehemu hiyo, kuna watu wachache ambao wa binafsi ambao ni selfish, wanajitakia zaidi na waishi huko, wanakataa hiyo maji, wanaleta mambo ya siasa ya 2022.
Water scarcity has caused a lot of conflict within Baragoi and its environs. Livestock are also dying due to lack of water. The residents only want the ban on the construction lifted.
Sasa makanisa hana maji, town misikiti hana maji, hakuna gari nachotea sisi maji, sisi mgongo ameisha.
The dam construction is funded under the Equalization Fund. Helen Aura, NTV.
Water frustration. Now to another frustration, and Nairobi City cleaners contracted by Creative Workers Company put down their tools this morning, demanding for 4 months of unpaid wages. The workers gave a strike notice to the county this morning, accusing the employer of frustrating them. Many claim to have been locked out of their houses due to unpaid rent. They now want the government to intervene, adding that they buy their own equipment such as spades and brooms. Lawrence Omire, the chairman of Creative Workers, has refuted reports that the company is frustrating its workers, claiming that the county government had not paid the company for the past 6 months.
Tuko na miezi 4 hatujalipwa, na tukienda kuuliza mkubwa wetu mwenye ametupea hii kazi, sababu tumepewa kazi na contract, anatuambia county ndio ijalipa. Songo mwenyewe alisema ni peanut kwake, hiyo ni kama kutupea lunch, lakini hiyo kidogo hatupati. Ndio hiyo tunataka kujua inaendanga wapi.
Hakuna gloves, hakuna gumboot. Hata ukiona tunafanya matambara, sisi tunafanya matambara. Hata tunashindwa ni kazi gani tunafanya. Cheza na cheza.
Afternoon for local football. The Kenya Premier League continues this afternoon with 8 matches on the card as the season slowly draws to a close. The Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos will witness a double-header, starting off with AFC Leopards against Tusker at 2 p.m, followed by Kariobangi Sharks against Wazito FC. Champions Gor Mahia are in Mumias, where they face Vihiga United after the early kickoff between Kakamega Homeboys and Sony Sugar. In Mombasa, second-placed Bandari host Sofapaka. Mathari United play Posta Rangers at Kasarani. Nakumatt clash with Nzoia Sugar at Camp Toyoyo. And Zoo FC face Ulinzi Stars in Kericho. Grounds, and advanced ticket sales have commenced for the Bonanza that will run from the 9th to the 11th of November. Tickets are available online at tickets.dac. Sorry, I'm just trying to find out. Tickets are available. Tickets on sale at of Jose Mourinho, with Derby County knocking out Manchester United from the Carabao Cup after winning 8-7 on penalties following a dramatic 2-2 draw. Juan Mata's early strike seemed to put United in control, but Derby always carried a threat, and on loan Liverpool man Harry Wilson scored a 6.